It's just one sentence, but it can silence your enemy, turn your lover into your servant, and force anyone to follow your command. You hear this sentence every day, but its true power has been hidden from you. This isn't magic. It's a psychological weapon used by those who know how to break others without laying a finger. Today, you're going to learn it. Welcome to the dangerous game. I understand you, that's it. Just those words. Simple, innocent, gentle, but behind them lies a power that can give you control over any person's heart, mind, and decisions. This is the sentence that breaks down defenses. It bypasses the conscious mind and reaches directly into the subconscious. It's not just a phrase, it's a secret doorway. And when you say it to someone, you're actually entering into their inner world, the place they've never let anyone else see. Most people think that in order to influence someone, they need to give a strong argument, say something grand, threaten, dominate. But the truth is, every human being, before anything else, wants to be heard, wants to be felt. And I understand you is the phrase that softens a person from within. Whether you're speaking to an enemy, a lover, a poor man, a rich one, this sentence touches a universal human wound. I just want someone to understand me. But here's the real trick. Most people don't hear this sentence on a conscious level. They feel it. When you say it sincerely, or even appear sincere, the other person slips from consciousness into subconsciousness. They stop thinking and start feeling. And when someone starts feeling, they stop fighting themselves. That's the moment your influence begins. Because once you say, "I understand you," everything you say after that seeps into the other person's mind as if it were their own thought. They see you as an ally, not an opponent. And that is the most dangerous position of all, when your enemy begins to see you as one of them. This is the deception. The phrase sounds like love, but it's a tool of power. It wears the mask of softness, but on the inside, it's a psychological weapon of war. Think about it. How many times have you heard someone say to you, "I understand you," and your eyes filled with tears, or you opened up your heart? You felt they were your well-wisher, but maybe, just maybe, they had learned exactly what you are learning now. Humans die from loneliness, and this sentence temporarily ends that loneliness. It's a kind of spell that convinces a person, maybe this is the one who truly sees me, who truly understands me. And in that very moment, your spell begins to work. The power of this sentence doesn't come from your intention, but from your tone, your timing, and your delivery. If you say it at the right moment, in the right way, the other person opens their mind, and you walk in. The world's greatest leaders, salesmen, seductive lovers, and psychologists, they've all used the power of this one sentence. They've won hearts, signed deals, stopped wars, changed lives, all because they understood one truth. People only truly listen when they feel someone is truly listening to them. And if you're wondering, can a sentence really be that powerful? Then you haven't understood its depth yet. The real power lies in the trust it creates. When someone feels that you understand them, they'll tell you their secrets, reveal their weaknesses, lower their walls, and that's where you implant your ideas, with zero resistance. You'll never see this sentence as just a phrase again. Now you know, it's a key that unlocks the closed doors of the subconscious mind. I understand you. This is the sentence that forces your enemy to surrender without a fight. It doesn't attack. It opens the door, and that is its most dangerous feature. Every person in the world is surrounded by a mental fortress. This fortress is built to defend against rejection, doubt, painful experiences, and betrayal. Whenever you ask someone for something, try to explain an idea or attempt to convince them, you're essentially knocking on the door of that fortress. And the harder you knock, the more tightly the door shuts. But when you say, "I understand you," you're not knocking on the door. You're speaking from inside it. Because this sentence doesn't attack logic, it validates the person's existence. And that is what every human being craves, to be understood without condition, without opposition. This is the moment where even your opponent starts to feel, maybe I'm not alone. And that single thought begins to weaken their defense system. Now they're no longer prepared to fight you. They're ready to talk to you. Just imagine, someone is angry with you, misunderstands you, speaks against you, and for a moment you look into their eyes and say, "I understand you." No argument, no explanation, no defense, just that sentence. What follows is silence, because you've acknowledged their emotions without fighting. This sentence is powerful because it approaches from an equal level. It doesn't project superiority. It doesn't say, "You're wrong," or "I'll change you." It says, "I see your pain. and I'm not leaving you alone in it. And people accept what touches their emotions. Truth or lies don't matter. If you show them you've heard their inner voice, they start to hear you as if you are that voice. Now your words sound like their thoughts. Now your opinion feels like their own belief. And that's the moment control shifts into your hands. Ever noticed how some people, salesmen, leaders, or even lovers, convince you without ever making a strong argument? How they make you feel like they really understand me? It's because they know this law. Emotional truth is more powerful than logical truth. And I understand you is that emotional truth that melts any barrier. This sentence is not a substitute for logic. It paves the way for logic. But it doesn't stop there. The impact of this sentence multiplies when you use it at the very moment someone feels misunderstood, rejected, or ignored. At that point, it's no longer just words. It becomes a gentle hand placed on a deep wound, one that touches not the body, but the soul. And that soul, which was once against you, now stands beside you. People don't give in because they lost an argument. They give in when they feel you can hear the noise inside them. Now you understand that saying, "I understand you," isn't just a verbal act. It's a psychological, emotional, and subconscious penetration. Now the question is, will you use this sentence only to gain trust, or will you combine it with power and learn how to bend people to your will? Have you ever defeated an enemy without fighting? Have you ever convinced someone who was filled with hatred against you? It may seem impossible, but only until you understand the real forces that drive human beings. We often think that to overcome an enemy, we must either overpower them or become better than them. But you've probably noticed, sometimes a single simple sentence does what all the shouting and debating couldn't. I understand you. These words find a way into even the heart of an enemy who despises your very existence. Why? Because hatred is often a reflection of a deep, unhealed wound. Hatred is born when a person feels misunderstood, irrelevant, or powerless. And when you say to that person, "I know what you're feeling," they don't see you as weak. They see you as someone who recognized their wound, someone who looked at them as a human, not an enemy. Now they no longer see you through the eyes of hostility. They see a reflection of themselves in you. That's the moment the ice begins to melt, where hatred fades into the background, where ego begins to surrender. This sentence is like balm on the sharp wounds of hatred, and the enemy who came to destroy you now pauses and wonders. Does this person really understand me? Do they truly know my pain? And no matter how stone-hearted a person may be, there is one thing that always softens them: being understood. That's why the most cunning psychological warriors, the most ruthless negotiators, and the smartest salesmen, they never start with arguments. They begin with understanding, because they know if you can make your enemy feel, "I understand you," they lose the energy to fight you. Ever noticed how the greatest peacemakers in history brought nations to their knees? They didn't swing a sword or spit venom. They simply said what echoed inside the heart: "I understand your pain." Now you possess that very weapon, a silent, simple, seemingly harmless sentence that can turn anyone from your enemy into your ally. But it only works if you use it not as an act, but with skill. The enemy reads your eyes more than your words. So when you say, "I understand you," it must feel like you've truly touched their hatred, their anger, their wound. It's not just a phrase, it's an emotion. This is the moment where the enemy steps away from their ideology, their anger, their resistance, and moves closer to you, not because you convinced them, but because you felt them. And once that crack opens, you've found your way into their mind. Now you can speak, share your stance, and they will listen, because now they don't see you as an enemy. They see you as someone who understands. That's the distance that separates you from ordinary people. Ordinary people argue, fight, try to persuade, but you become the one who silently enters the enemy's mind. So now the question is, will you use this weapon only for defense, or will you take it further, turning enemies into friends, friends into followers, and followers into slaves? Have you ever had a moment when someone walked away from you, misunderstood you, and all you could do was watch, hoping they would come back? That person who once meant everything to you suddenly began to feel like a stranger, as if, in their eyes, you had become someone unrecognizable. Most people believe that winning back a broken relationship only requires apologies or explanations. But the truth is, once a heart has been hurt, it doesn't listen to words. It only seeks one thing: to be understood. And this is exactly the moment where this small sentence can bring everything back to you. I understand you. This is the moment when the other person is weighed down by their anger, complaints, and emotional pain, and you place before them a soft, silent sentence. No justification, no reasoning, no defense, just acceptance. When someone has already left you, they've walked away carrying many justifications. You didn't understand me. You didn't see my pain. You were lost in yourself. But the moment you calmly, with eye contact, heart to heart, say, I know what you're feeling. I understand you. The foundation of all those justifications begins to shake. The person who saw themselves as the victim suddenly begins to see you, not as a criminal or a culprit, but as someone who finally said the one thing they'd longed to hear for years. This sentence makes you feel heard, and the deepest human desire is to become someone's truth. When you say these words, the other person lets go of their emotional burden and begins to ask themselves, did I act too soon? Was this the person I failed to understand? At this point, love doesn't just return, it rebirths, because you have placed yourself in a space where you are neither the victim nor the villain, but the aware one. And that awareness can soften hearts, awaken conscience, and breathe life back into buried emotions. This sentence can revive any broken relationship, but only if you say it with true understanding, not just as a way to win. If you say it only to make the other person want you again, it will have no effect. But if you say it because you genuinely want to understand the storm inside them, you'll see that the storm itself will bring them back to you. Love, relationships, friendships, they all survive through understanding. And the moment someone feels that you have truly seen them, heard them, and understood them, that moment brings you back into their world. But now, with deeper intimacy than before. Remember, relationships are built from the heart, and the heart only listens to the voice that speaks its pain. Now you know. This sentence isn't just a way to say sorry, it's a weapon for reconnecting souls. But this weapon only works when you feel its weight as you speak it, not when you perform it like a rehearsed line. Every person enters an argument with the same goal: to win, to prove the other wrong, assert themselves, dominate the conversation. But the truly powerful one is the one who conquers without fighting. And here, this sentence becomes your greatest weapon. I understand you. When someone is yelling at you, throwing accusations, calling you wrong, your natural reaction is to respond. But the moment when instead of reacting, you calmly say, I know why you feel this way. I understand you. You ended the argument exactly where the other person hoped a war would begin. This sentence flips the direction of the argument. The other person, who came armed with all their logic and emotional ammunition, suddenly starts collapsing under the weight of their own emotions. Why? Because they expected a fight, but you gave them acceptance. This is the move that doesn't close minds. It opens them. Now the person who was shouting goes silent. They begin to ask themselves, does this person really understand me? Are they against me or on my side? And once that doubt creeps in, the anger begins to dissolve. That's the moment you win, without ever winning the argument. You didn't offer proof. You didn't assert superiority. You showed wisdom. In arguments, the one who wins is not always the one who's right. Often, it's the one who reaches the other's emotions. And I understand you is the doorway that leads you straight into the unconscious mind, where feelings overpower facts. This sentence acknowledges the other person's truth, even if it's false to you. But in their inner world, in that moment, they feel that you came to listen, not to fight. And that's the moment you can place your real thoughts. Say your real truth, because their walls have already fallen. Understand, this sentence doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you seem submissive. It lifts you to the place where you don't knock others down, you make them step down themselves. When someone is shouting and you, in a calm voice, say, I understand you, they scream and still lose. And that loss is the deepest kind because it's silent. In the arena of argument, this sentence has the same effect as a poisoned blade that cuts without being seen. Invisible, but deadly. Now you know how this sentence gives you a kind of dominance that can't be won through words, nor through logic, but only through mental control. By now, you've seen that this sentence can make enemies surrender, bring love back, end arguments, and build trust. But the real magic begins when you stop using it just for momentary victories, and instead make it a part of who you are. When your very presence makes people feel, this person understands me. They can feel my emotions. They can hear the noise inside me. Then you've already won, even before saying a word. From this point forward, you're no longer just a person. You become a silent force. People won't just come to you for advice. They'll entrust you with their secrets. They won't challenge you. They'll hand over their decisions because they don't see you as just another talker. They see you as a mirror in which they can see their true face without fear, without shame. In this world, the rarest thing is to be understood, and the one who can offer that automatically becomes the most valuable person. You no longer need to force control over others. You simply feel, and they start moving at the rhythm of your silent influence. Your silence starts speaking louder than noise. Your eyes begin to offer trust. Your presence becomes so deep that people naturally want to show up as their real selves around. And when someone comes to you in their real, vulnerable self, they can't resist you. They can't leave you. They can't oppose you. "I understand you" is no longer just a phrase. It becomes your mental signature. In every relationship, every debate, every meeting, it becomes the invisible glow that sets you apart from the rest of the world. And this is the point where you're no longer playing the game. You're writing the rule. Remember this: people don't follow those who speak the loudest. They follow those who make them feel the most. You now hold a weapon the world desperately needs, but one the world has hidden out of fear: the silent power to enter the human mind. But be warned, if you use this power only to manipulate, to dominate, or to extract benefit, then it will eventually consume you, because the one who touches heart also becomes vulnerable to their impact. So now the decision is yours. Will you use this sentence just to influence others, or will you master the mind through it? Will you build the kind of depth where people come to rediscover themselves and never want to leave you again? If these 7 parts have opened doors in your awareness, remember, this is just the beginning. The world only sees what you show, but real power is always in what you make others feel. Now, you possess the one sentence that can win the mind, the heart, and the ego all at once. I understand you. If you want to discover more psychological weapons, deeper truths about human nature, and the secrets of silent power, don't miss the next video, because this is not just about words. This is a full system of mind control. Subscribe now and build your silent mental empire, because the one who understands is the one who truly rules.